Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting. We are joined once again by friend of the pod, returning guest, Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, Todd's on the pod.
Todd's on the pod. There we go. Yeah, it wouldn't be New York Comic Con if we didn't get a chance to talk to you.
Sure, thanks for coming back again.
Yeah, always a pleasure. We're so happy this year. I know I've made this joke before, but I'm going to make it again. We're so happy that Tom Hardy did not steal you from us like he did 2 years ago. Yeah, so we're happy to be back with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had a really exciting 2 panels. You had back-to-back panels yesterday. We had the opportunity to see them, which was great. But you had one really big reveal in the toy panel specifically that I want to spend some time talking about. Those Founders figures.
The Image Founders figures, specifically. Yeah, it was interesting because as we were going to announce it, Jim Lee, who obviously one of the Image Founders, said that he could make the panel, right? And so, but he came and he was supposed to come at the end. So it was supposed to be Marvel, then Jim and the Founders, but he tightened the schedule, so we had to do it. And if you were there, then you saw that like somebody was trying to rearrange the screen.
Yeah, the slides.
And all of a sudden one popped up. You see it for 1 second, there was like, "Doh!"
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh man, that was quick." Everybody saw real, but yeah, it was sort of a fun announcement to say, hey, instead of us doing like a figure here or a figure there or whatever, let's just put it into a program, if you will, called the Image Founders, which are the 6 of us who began Image comic books back in '92, and let's see if we can do at least one figure from each one of the founders, which is what we announced. And so all of them, the 6 being Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, Mark Silvestri, Eric Larson, Jim Valentino, and myself, are going to all be contributing a minimum of one figure into this series, and then we'll collect them. And then hopefully if there's a demand, then I'll do a second figure of each one of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of those figures, especially like the one that jumped out on the screen to me, was Savage Dragon. I mean, having an Eric Larson Savage Dragon figure, in modern articulation is something that I know a lot of people have wanted for a long time. Yeah. And it looks great.
It's interesting because if you followed Savage Dragon, for the last 30 years, he's put so many characters in that book that you literally could do these little 2-inch ones and have hundreds, maybe thousands of characters. Because I always think of like, The Simpsons and all the characters in their town. And you see that poster, it's got every one of the characters.
Yep.
Savage Dragon's kind of got that exact same sort of thing. Maybe I should talk to Eric, go, hey, I'm going to do the whole Savage Dragon universe this big because it'd just be super cool. So,
yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, and I think one of the coolest things is somebody who remembers like when Image started.
Back in '92.
Yeah, all the way back in '92.
Yeah.
As a 11-year-old that was super into comics and still is, but now 44. It's very cool to see like Wildcats and Silverhawk and all of those characters kind of back in the fold after being away for a little bit.
Yeah, together.
Yeah, no, and like Valentino's character, who I always thought had a great look and a great visual to it. I said it I thought the simplicity of that design was really good. It's too bad we don't have 100 issues of it, right? It's Shadowhawk, not Silverhawk.
Or Shadowhawk, sorry.
Look, I understand. I do it all the time. There's all these names that sort of intertwine. But Shadowhawk, to me, it's interesting when you look back, when we all came up with our number ones, we all sort of placed bets on which ones we thought were going to be the breakout character. I thought Shadowhawk was going to be like the guy, because he just had a little bit of a Wolverine vibe, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? He's just a badass kind of dude, a little bit of Punisher in him or something. I go, and he looked cool with the color combo. But for whatever reason, Jim, and went and did a bunch of other stuff. eventually, and didn't give us the big mountain of stuff like Eric did or I did with Spawn to advance that character, even bigger. Because like I said, I thought he was going to be kind of the head of the class when we first started in 1992. But we'll have a fun time with his character. I don't know if I'm trying to think if there's been a Prophet. Rob Liefeld's character we're doing. I don't know if there's ever been a Prophet. I think that was why we picked that character, because if I recall, because there have been some Youngblood toys.
Yeah.
But I think it was like, hey, let's do one that nobody's done before, so it will be unique instead of like a redo or an uptick on it. So again, might not be, if you would even ask Rob, his number one guy, but that nobody's ever made it adds to the mystique of it, I think.
And even Jim, I don't think the Wildcats were ever under your banner as far as toys.
They weren't on. No,
yeah, they were
somebody else
I
did.
think,
I think it was Playmates. And there's a
and secretly starting with Grifter a little bit.
Yeah. That's
and they'll fit together.
Yeah,
which is great.
But it's interesting because the Grifter character, which also comes from Jim's time at Image Comic Book, but when Jim went over to DC, he took his studio with him. So we got Grifter as part of the multiverse, right? It's a weird one that it was like, but this one is now a little bit different because this one is, sort of the Image founders, which is, and it was true. Now I got Jim Lee is going to be giving me approvals for an Image Founders toy while he has a lot of influence on the multiverse stuff too. So I'll be having Jim in stereo.
Extra Jim, little extra Jim in your life.
He's always really generous. Him and his crew are really generous with trying to help us.
Now, is there, with the founders and the possibility of going into a second, third year, so on, is there room to go even into like those second and third waves of Image, like with like Max and Pitt and things like that?
Here's what I would say. The answer, in the simple version, is yes. The answer to any question when anybody goes, hey, you're going to make this, you're going to do that, always comes back to the same answer again, which is depends on how the first wave does. So even when we do, let's say, a video game line or something, or a TV line or something, and we put it in and we sell it, if it sells, then we're just as curious to go, hey, how do we make more, right? Like, we want to keep feeding the demand. The stores want it because they go, hey, you just gave us something and it sold out. When are you going to bring more? So, to your question, at some point, there's a lot from the founders, right? I mean, somebody put a list together for me in the 30 years, just in the Spawn comic book, there have been 2,100 characters that have graced those pages. Again, that can be everything from a firefighter to a doctor. So again, I'm not saying that they're relevant, but if you've got 2,100, then there's at least 100 that are sort of super villains or superheroes.
Toyetic.
Yeah. That look, so each one of us, I think, has a kind of a little bit of a library, but the question then becomes, do you go to our second, third, fourth best, or do you go to that next wave and do their A characters, right?
Yeah.
Because years ago when I first started the company, we did do like the Max. We've never done the Pit, right? The Pit would be really cool to do. Dale Keown,
absolutely.
The Pit. So I would say those rank higher than some of our sort of B and C characters that are down a little bit below. But we'll see. Hopefully the demand will be there and the customers will speak up, right? They're never shy.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I know the Spawn that's part of that wave is the first one to have a larger cloth goods cape, something that we've talked about in the past. Getting that, because I mean it's no secret the cape is basically a secondary character in the comics. It has been since day one.
I for sure will get the super deluxe Spawn with the big cape, and I even in my mind know how it would work. And so, but we're doing a cloth one with a wire for the first time. We've done some cool capes for him, but again, obviously they've all been plastic. So we've had pretty good luck with the capes. what I'm really proud of is that it used to be you would take a cape and you'd go like sideways, and then you'd let go, and it would sort of droop down maybe halfway. We've figured out now that it doesn't do that anymore. Like, you put it here and you take your hand away, it's frozen.
Yeah, and it stays.
It freezes with it. And usually that happens because you have to put a really thick wire in there, and it ruins, I think, some of the aesthetics. It also gets heavy, so then it also pushes its own weight down.
Yeah.
So there was a balancing act, but I think we've nailed it really well right now. I was just showing off a Spectre the other day from DC, and it was like on TV, and I go, look, you can put it here, and you can tell, because I go, I'm holding it, watch what happens when I move my hand. Nothing happens. So Spawn, he'll have a cool one like that, but what we need is the Mondo one. But in my mind, the Mondo one is going to need help, because you can't make a big fat wire. So in my mind, what we need to do is add stands.
Prop it up along the way.
Yeah, prop it up. But ones that you put done right. If you put them in and you put the fold right, you'll hide it all.
Yeah.
So when it's on your shelf, you go, oh man, there it is, all cool cloth, and the thing that is helping to hold it up at the very end, a foot away from him, will be hidden if you do it right.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at ChubsyWubsy.com. That's ChubsyWubsy.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
Well, you also mentioned, the DC multiverse, and we saw some new releases coming from that. You mentioned getting now into this area with DC, where you're picking the kind of C and D tier characters, like those ones that are like the deep cuts. It's actually not fair to say C and D, because people love these characers and have wanted them for a long time.
That's
ranking.
That's what I call them internally.
Yeah.
Right? Again, there's no disrespect for them. It's just that because I need to know that we have our 3 lists.
Yep.
And that we're taking 2 from each bucket to make the sort of more balanced lineups.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, I use sports, and it comes from the sport. We did the sports figures for a long time and had a lot of success, but we didn't have an exclusive.
Yeah.
To give you an example, and then one year, Major League Baseball came to us and they go, "Hey, we need to make a little bit more money, so we're letting somebody else come in and make figures." And I went, "Okay, that's fine. I don't have an exclusive. I understand it." It's not, and then I looked at what they were doing, and I go, "Okay, cool. I'm not being biased. I'm telling you from a business point of view, it's not going to work. Long term, it's not going to work." And they're like, "Well, you just don't want to compete." No, and why? Because the new person that came in to do it did all the all-stars in the first wave. And I'm going, that first wave is going to sell. And I go, it's the second wave you got to worry about.
Yeah.
And the problem is, here's how it works when you go in. If you sell 100,000 units, let's say, to Walmart, and they sell out, they want 100,000 for Series 2.
Yeah.
The one thing that the store buyers do not do is ask who's in a line. They never do.
Okay.
Right? I've told my salespeople, if you talk about art more than 5 minutes, you're wasting your breath. They just look at numbers on a piece of paper, and they go, we ordered 100,000, we sold 100,000, you got another series, you want 100,000. Now, my job is to go, you don't want 100,000 a second series, it's not as good. That's what that company should have been doing.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what happened. They ordered 100,000.
And sold 50.
Yes, because it was now the not all-star guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Again, still major league ball players, but not all-star guys.
Yeah.
And they got stuck with inventory. And then when the stores look at the number and they got half sales, you know how many they order in number 3? None. Not, we're going to go down to 50. We sold 50.
Yeah.
It's none. The only reason they were keeping it going was because they had a number at 100.
Yeah.
And so you're out that quick. You go literally home run sales on the first one, maybe a single on the second one, and then you are on the bench and you're not even getting orders. And the same is applicable for the figures. If I just do all the A figures all the time, eventually then I'm going to be forced to do the deep cut and the fan favorite stuff, and I can't do an entire line because they're going to buy it at Superman and Batman rates.
Correct.
So that's why I need to smatter some of this stuff in there.
Yeah, you can't just have Vlad Guerrero. You need Dalton Varsho too.
Yeah. Wow. No, we won't go. But because I'm a geek, Vlad Guerrero was the best player when he played senior, but he played for Montreal Expos. Nobody cared about the Montreal Expos. I could put the best player for the Marlins, and the best player for Montreal, and the best player for some expansion teams, even at that point San Diego. Nobody cared. Or I could put the 5th best person on the Yankees, or the Cubs, or the Red Sox, sell it all day long. Dodgers, sell it all day long, right? So that's what you're talking about behind closed doors of going, because people go, hey, why do you do so many Batmans? And it's like, because Batman is still a brand, and the 12th best Batman still outsells those deep cut characters.
Yeah. And it may be somebody's first Batman.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, and so it's the Batman Spider-Man rule. There's always got to be a Batman. There's always got to be a Spider-Man on the shelf.
365 days a year.
That's always the case.
I agree. They're evergreens.
Yep. Evergreen figures.
Yeah. They're like Hershey chocolate bars. There should always be one out there.
So with the DC stuff, we're still seeing waves of figures. What's the kind of timeline looking like this for you? Like in terms of what's next, in the DC line? Like how much more product are we going to see headed into 2026?
Well, we have the contract to the end of 26.
Till the end?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, I mean, again, you've got to do sell downs and all that other stuff. But I think there was an initial shock at the beginning, like, oh my God, they took it away, and then I think people thought they were closing the door.
It's like a guillotine.
That day, that's it.
Door closed, it's locked.
You're out.
That's it. We're done.
No. But they wanted to make the announcement, and this is how big businesses work: is that they have contracts. They know what the end date is of mine. They don't want to wait till the last day to negotiate it.
Yeah.
So they have to start negotiating like a year or longer in advance, because it might take 6 months to find the right suitor.
Yep.
Right. And so it makes sense. And then you go, oh, we found our new partner, and then you just sort of transition. Oh, by the way, the new partner needs time to develop, right?
Yeah,
so,
toys take 12 to 18 months to make, so yeah.
So that's it. So it was like, no, guys, we still got a couple good years of doing nice product before the transfer and it comes in on this. And, who knows? We're talking about Warner Brothers, who own, because DC is under Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Consumer product and Mattel, to see if there's still some way we can have our fingerprint someplace, right?
Okay.
And so those conversations are going on too. So who knows? By the time we get to the end, there may be even some other announcements, that people will see as either upgrades or downgrades or whatever. But this is just the nature of being in competition with other people.
Yep. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad to hear. I think there was a lot of, to your point, right? People not understanding how the industry works. It's like, oh, that's it, he's out. Mm-hmm. But like understanding that we still have really a full year of announcements ahead of us is kind of cool.
Yeah, correct. No. So and again, I would say the only sort of pressure, if you will, now is that we know the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So now we know we can only get out X amount of figures between now and the expiration. So which ones do we want to do?
Yeah.
When you had years on your contract, or you thought you were going to get a renewal on a contract, you can start thinking in like 3-5 year increments, right? Yep. So that's not how it's going to work. We go, hey, we got this much time, where we can only get 50 figures or whatever in that amount of time. Which 50 do we want to do?
Yeah. Okay, there's one that's high on my list.
Okay, what is it?
You really want me to say it?
Yeah, say it.
Jack Nicholson Joker. 89 Joker.
Yeah. I'm trying to think I think, don't quote me. I think that the issue with that is that they never got the rights. They never got his rights.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing likenesses of people, you obviously have to get the character approval, which is what we do because we have the contract. But depending on how they negotiated, if they did, the likeness to be able to exploit the actual actors, because we've run into that with a couple of things over the years, where they just go, you can't make that person, right? Yeah. Again, technically, I guess I could just go to Mr. Nicholson's group and see if they would do it or whatever. But it's not readily available and through the normal channels the way you would do other characters. So.
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, Mezco's got some stuff out there that looks like Jack Nicholson. Yeah. So we gotta knock on the door.
There's two things. There's like, is it Jack or does it look like
Jack-ish? I'd take a Jack-ish.
Okay. No, Jack-ish.
I would take a Jack-ish.
So
89 Joker.
So the ish, they do that, but then you're going, okay, you're doing kind of a knockoff. You can't do the person. I don't know. And then you get in trouble. I don't know. So they've told us there's a couple ones that they go, you got to stay away from them.
Okay.
You can go kind of close, but you got to stay away. It can't be them.
Okay.
And that's a little bit of a balancing act. So we'll see. I'll ask them again, see if they're comfortable with it.
All right. Well, Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It is always a pleasure. Like I said, it's not New York Comic Con if we're not sitting with Todd McFarlane.
Yeah. So. No. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. Got a couple more days here, Saturday, Sunday. Today should be the crush day.
Yep. Absolutely.
There's lots of good stuff out on the floor to talk about and to show off to your fans out here.
Yep. So. Excited for Spawn 77. Lots of good things. Todd.
Mortal Kombat. All good stuff.
Thank you so much,
there
man.
There you go. All right. Be good.
Thank you, Todd.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both on our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.